Hello and welcome to La Jolla Babylon, Season 2, The Education of a Suburban Punk, a podcast where I read stories of my undersupervised Gen X youth to my coddled millennial little sister, writer, actor, and comedian, Katie Hartman. I'm your host, Aaron Hartman. And if you like what you hear, please share this podcast with someone who you think will like it too. Okay, here we go. Hey, welcome back to La Jolla Babylon, Season 2, Episode 4.
Thanks. I'm sorry, were you talking to me?
I feel like we always do this. Yeah, I'm talking to you.
Oh, thanks. I appreciate it.
No, I wasn't talking to you. I was talking to the audience.
Oh.
I mean, I was talking to you when I said welcome back, but
then you pivoted.
The second time I was talking to that.
All right.
Hi, Katie.
Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon, brother.
Welcome.
She's 40 now.
Yeah, welcome to being this side of... No, welcome to being this side of 40. My little sister, my baby sister.
Yes, thank you so much.
Hi.
Hi.
So you had a fun night last night?
Yes, I had a small but mighty 40th birthday celebration, which I didn't anticipate having because I came home and apparently I was a real messy drunk person flopping around. Kept my poor husband up for 2 hours. He had gone home to take care of our dog. Mm-hmm. And I went out and he was just like, how much more did you have to drink? Because we went to Kanji Village, which is this great Chinese place, and we rented you can rent a room while eating dinner, so you do karaoke, a karaoke room while you're eating dinner.
Yeah.
And we got literal pitchers of lychee martinis, and we drank them out of wine glasses, so you kind of forgot. It was just, it was a good time.
Yeah.
But then, and then I just was texting. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Leo was like, I was like, we only had one drink at the bar afterwards, right? And she was like, oh no. She's like, no, we had like two or three drinks and you also had a shot of tequila. And I was like, oh God. That all tracks.
The fact that you don't remember the shot of tequila.
Yeah, it's a problem. But I will say, I don't go out like drinking anymore. Yeah. Very, very little do I go out and drink like I used to.
Right.
Because we used to just be doing shows in bars. And so we would drink all
and
the
just
time.
Going out to drink, like that being the thing you are going out to do, definitely seems like a thing of the past.
Yeah. Yeah. So after this, I have to get off this mic and go tell my husband, oh, no, you're right. You clocked the situation correctly. That
Only because you got the confirmation from Leah.
Yeah. Well, in my brain, I was like, yeah, we were at the bar for like a couple, like one drink and blah, blah. Mm-hmm. And then Leah's like, and then Beth brought back tacos. Do you remember the tacos? And I immediately had a flash of being thrilled that there were tacos in front of me, Yeah. But I do remember getting into the cab to get home. But woof, wow, what a fun time. But also, really had a great time.
Well, I think it was the last time you visited me in Portland. We went out dancing. And I remember, I had a couple drinks myself, and I think the next day you said something to me like, so you have a good time last night, Aaron? And I was like, oh God, I don't like that tone of voice. And I was like, yeah, why? You're like, oh, you were just on fire last night, which is like not what I want to hear.
Well, you're normally very chill, and then sometimes when you become enthusiastic, it's like, okay, here it is.
Yeah. I hate when people point out my behavior. You know what I mean? Like,
of course.
I hate that.
Of course, it's like, oh no, you're perceiving me.
Yeah.
You know me well enough to know that this is not my natural state of what I want to put out, but it's still fun.
It's the worst.
Yeah. David was, my husband was just like, he was like, you just kept demanding that I say I love you.
Oh no.
Not demanding, but asking, I guess, forcefully.
Yeah.
And then
you just wanted to hear it.
But I was just like laying on the bed, like half on the bed. And then he was like, okay, for the 40th time, I love you. And then I was like, Oh no, but what about the 41st?
Oh no. And he was literally just trying to fall asleep, and you're like, hey.
I mean, something like that. But
no.
At least when I hear stories like that, I'm still very funny.
Yeah, you've got that going for you.
But my insides are sour today, sour and rotten.
Okay, well, we can keep this quick.
Great.
Yeah. Maybe you can, listen to the chapters while,
dry heaving.
That's not what I was gonna say, but sure.
So embarrassed now. I was like, I'm sure we just had one sensible drink at the bar after.
One sensible drink.
Those.
I'm sure we just had one sensible drink, and then how did I get home? Okay. Let me just give you a little rundown about what you're about to hear.
Okay.
And we can move on. We can move on from this conversation. Okay, so it's 3 chapters.
Great.
Chapters 40. Hey.
Whoa, synchronicity.
What do you know about that? It's as if we've been planning this this is how together this fucking podcast is.
Yeah.
We've been waiting it. Yeah.
We really timed it out really well.
Did. It's a little bit of good old dumb old Aaron breaking some windows and sort of like dealing with the consequences or not. And then something happens at my job at the flight park that I don't know if I've ever told you about, but it's one of my favorite things. It's the thing that it's one of those things that you just want to happen if you're going to have that job. And then and the last one is a chapter called What $40 Can Buy You. And it's sort of about me and Dan Jones having this experience in kind of like the seedier side of San Diego, in this way that I have a line in there that most people don't think of guys like this when they think about San Diego, but I do. So yeah, I think you'll like these.
Great.
They're fun. Yeah.
Awesome. Some easy listening for this.
Well,
okay.
We'll see.
Oh,
I sneak a little stuff in there, but yeah.
Okay. Well,
All
sneaky.
Sneaky. Okay. Have a great time, and I'll send you the link and let me know when you're done.
Yes. Bye-bye.
And I hope you have some Alka-Seltzer in the meantime.
Me too. That would be nice, huh?
Okay. Bye. Floor plans fall through. Dan and I broke into a house under construction with Tar, a few doors down from her house. We had been hanging out with Terry less and less, and it felt weird to be with one of his friends without him. But fuck it, she called me. We kicked some holes in the walls and broke a couple windows. It wasn't even all that fun. Tar was totally unimpressed. Then we heard yelling. Tar's father was at the front door.
Who the fuck is in this house? Tar? Are you in there? Are you and your idiot friends breaking and entering? I'm calling the cops right now.
We were on the ground floor. He was on the main floor. We busted out of an open window and ran down the sloping backyard, through a neighbor's patio, and onto a side street. Tar was nowhere to be found. Dan and I drove to his apartment and listened to Tar sob on his answering machine. She explained that her father caught her, and she told him everything. She gave him our names and phone numbers, and he was going to have us arrested for vandalism. We should expect our parents to find out any minute. I'm so sorry. I hope I see you again someday. On the way to my house, Dan and I constructed a masterpiece of exposition. We redesigned the floor plan in a way that worked with our story. By the time we arrived to my fully illuminated house, it was totally conceivable that we could have innocently wandered onto a construction site moments before windows were mysteriously shattered by another, unrelated group of ne'er-do-wells. Our strategy was to act surprised by the accusation and get mad if my mom insisted on our guilt. We were on the first floor, looking out a window, when we heard glass break on the third floor. We were freaked out because we didn't know anyone else was in there. The vandals must have left when Tar's father started yelling. We went out the back door. We didn't stick around to let Tar's dad know we were there because no one ever believes me. See? You don't believe me. My mother looked at me. Adam, just tell me you and Dan were the ones breaking windows in the house. You'll need to pay for the damage, but that's it. Mom, at this point, I don't care if you believe me or not. You obviously don't respect me. You believe Tar's dad, who you've never even met. I looked her in the eye and tinged my speech with what I aimed to be consternation. We did not do it. We were in the house, and we shouldn't have been. But we wouldn't break anything. We ran away because we didn't want to get blamed for something we didn't do. I guess we were right. She looked at me, exasperated. She didn't have the evidence to nail us or the energy to push anymore. My mom knew I was lying. She knew, I knew, she knew. It was a terrible moment. All I had to do was stay the course, and I'd get away with it. But it was not without some rough payment. She looked at me, squinting. Okay, keep it to yourself. Just do me a favor. One day, when you're ready to admit you broke those windows, just tell me. I won't be angry. That's all I ask. It doesn't matter how long it takes. I'll be waiting. I love you, but I think you're lying to me right now. Fast forward to my mother's deathbed. I was beside her thinking, this is your chance. She'll think it's funny, if she even remembers. I'd almost brought it up dozens of times over 25 years. Just tell her you're going to college. Just tell her you just got married. Just tell her she's holding your new baby daughter. I looked at my mother's sweet, puzzled face the whole time I was sitting with her, dealing with doctors, nurses, and finally hospice. I was thinking, I should probably tell her I broke those windows. It was like a relief valve. Whenever I started feeling especially sad, I fantasized about telling her. I smiled and sang another Beatles song. And finally, it was probably best I never told her. Oh well. Daryl John and the Dark One. Daryl John Ford from Little Rock was a complete fuck-up and a total revelation to me. An uncle that never could have happened in my family. His official job was hang glider test pilot, which was exactly what it sounds like. At 41 years old, Daryl John would strap himself to an experimental kite and jump off a cliff. His job was to do the precise thing your mother told you not to do. It was this lack of self-preservation that led him to living in his van, missing teeth, arms full of illegible tattoos, and working at the flight park with me. I never understood why he was so loyal to Tom Olson and his company. Daryl John earned $1 an hour more than I did, but he ran the store and risked his life 7 days a week. He had no children and really liked me. He thought I was amazing. He loved talking to me and giving me advice on all sorts of things he was pretty sure I would be able to use later on. He'd spot a girl, wrap his big, purple-splashed arm around me and say, "Man, she is beautiful. Gorgeous, don't you think? She's got the kind of legs I like. Feet on one end, pussy on the other. No, but seriously, she is pretty." Daryl John wasn't into lowering his voice. I wish I could tell her, he'd resume. I wish I could tell her to sit on my face. I was to remain a virgin for at least 2 years after this conversation. I was more than a virgin. I had no idea what really went on when people were alone. Face-sitting sounded neat and all, but it never really meant anything to me beyond the extreme embarrassment Daryl John would inflict when girls he pined for would hear him and turn and look at us. I never wanted to be a sleazy dude, yet there I was, embracing this biker as we talked openly about stuff I didn't even know I should be fantasizing about yet. He was extremely polite to everyone. It bordered on pantomime as he held open doors and gave a low bow to let customers into the shop. Anybody over 3 years old was either sir or ma'am, so it confused me when he went dark while talking about girls. He loved lecturing me on subjects such as life, women, bosses, helmet laws, the 60s, and some actual science-based aeronautical mumbo-jumbo. He would choose quiet moments to give his lessons, often engineering these moments just to have an audience. His favorite forum was the off-site warehouse, where he would trick me into helping him stack super heavy hang gliders. His running theme for our first summer together was giving it your 70. His philosophy was that if you go for 110 or even 100%, you would only disappoint yourself and your family. However, if you shoot for 70 and get 75 or 80%, you're doing great. Perched high on a ladder, barely holding onto my end of a giant kite, I'd hear,
"Disappointment is the difference between good expected and good received. Remember that, Adam."
I was probably the last person in the world who needed to hear this particular pep talk, but it was fun having an adult to look up to for inspiration. The summer after 11th grade, I started to receive more visitors on the cliff. Friends would stop by for a free Coke and to smirk at the weirdos before descending and joining them. I remember having to look around to make sure my boss was not watching as I handed out snacks. This job actually required that I look up above me, as Daryl John had a habit of sneaking up silently, swooping down 10 or 15 feet above my head and yelling,
"How's it going, Adam?"
from a rickety hang glider. I hated that. Days and weeks bled into each other. Sometime in the late morning, 2 young women walked up from the parking lot. I could tell, even at a great distance, that they were beautiful. I employed my Jedi mind trick to bring them closer. One was blonde, the other dark. She was wearing a bikini bottom and a sheer, flowing top. She was terrifying. Unfortunately, this was the peak of my dress to distress phase of adolescence. Sporting acid wash shorts, totally ironic, I swear. A t-shirt declaring I was having a Malox moment, and pink sunglasses. I became very aware of the long list of unsexy choices I had made that morning. The dark one, with the mostly exposed breasts, reached into my cooler and retrieved a can of something, cracked it open, and shared it with her friend. "We don't have any money, but we will when we come back up. You gonna be around this afternoon?" Even I could guess what she was implying, and I shifted in my folding chair conspicuously when I answered that yes, I would be there to collect the dollar when they returned. I was pretty sure. The sun was close to the horizon when they returned, wearing entirely different outfits, although they carried no bag. "We're back," the friend laughed. The dark one reached into the icy container and grabbed 2 juices, passing one. "What do we owe you? $3? As she took out her money, all 20s, the dark one reached into the bucket and took an ice cube and sucked on it with a strange precision. "Sure is hot today," she breathed. Her new top was constructed of 2 meager straps coming down from her shoulders, tying around her back, barely covering her erect nipples. She tucked a thumb underneath like a farmer relaxing his suspenders and loosened one strap to reveal a brown boob. "Would you do me a favor?" She handed me the melting ice cube by pressing it hard into my wrist. "It's so hot today. Would you rub this ice on my chest?" She uncovered another perfect breast, a chortle from her friend. I took the ice, extended my arm, and kind of moved it around her glistening torso. She made "ooh yeah" groans, much to the delight of her partner. Don't worry. I did not find myself in a killer 3-way in the back of a van. I found myself in public with a heart-on, awkward and mortified. Then, I was just alone at work. What $40 can buy you. Dan Jones answered an ad in the paper. It specified that in order to buy the lockpicks, you must be 18 and show your locksmith license. Since we knew adults were full of shit, we figured we would just show up with some money and see what happened. The office was close to my mother's house, as the crow might fly, but in reality, it was in a completely different neighborhood, separated by a highway and a series of large parking lots. When Dan Jones showed up that day, we talked about the best way to walk there. My mom's house was on a hill, and there were several ways to get to the bottom of it. Let's just go down Balboa Avenue. I hate that street. It's all car lots and boring stores. I have another idea. I hate your ideas. If we take Balboa, it'll take us past Yum Yum. I drove by it yesterday and they put up another sign. I'm sure you can grab it. California had been issuing sanitation grades to restaurants for years, and it was pretty rare to see anything lower than a B. This donut shop must have done something to piss someone off, because they displayed the only D I'd ever seen. Dan Jones would have to scramble onto the display case to be able to reach it, but he was sure he could do this without a problem. It's getting late, and the repo man said he was closing by 4. Let's just go the direct way. We walked down the hill, passing large houses with views, one-story bungalows that would later be bought, renovated, and flipped, bought again, and foreclosed on. Eventually, at sea level, we passed the military housing with square yards, cheap swing sets, and laundry lines you could see from the street. We ran, screaming across 8 furious lanes of Interstate 5, climbed over a fence or two, and set out towards a trailer at the far edge of a wide open parking lot. The way we knew we had entered the right compound was the extra tall gate topped with razor wire, which encircled about a dozen cars, ranging in age and conspicuous consumptiveness. The lot was huge. There were forklifts moving pallets of what looked like garbage, men in hard hats drinking from thermoses, and seagulls strutting around like they owned the place. Green glass crunched beneath our boots as we made our way. Once these men registered that we were coming from the highway, they stopped talking to each other and stared at us. We walked past them, and we could hear the folding chairs shift and creak as they turned to see us go up the metal stairs leading to the trailer with the hand-painted sign saying, Angels Auto Sales. There were several desks piled high with folders, papers, each with 2 or 3 phones. The shades were drawn against the clear blue sky, allowing the dimly flickering bug-filled fluorescent tubes to provide the only illumination. The walls were nearly covered with centerfolds, news clippings, and out-of-date calendars. We were greeted by a young Mexican man who seemed to be reading the tattoos on his right arm. He nodded to us, barely looking up from his reverie. Another man was sitting at the furthest desk, smoking and yelling into his phone, which was propped on his left shoulder with an aftermarket attachment, which looked like a beige stapler. He was shuffling through papers, flicking ashes into the metal trash can under his desk. His voice was East Coast and lovely. In the movie version, he's played by Paul Giamatti in a wig, obviously. What I'm saying to you is you won $1,000. Yes. We will send you the money as soon as I get some information from you. Great. The big man waved us in. He was wearing a Padres cap over a long ponytail. He wore yellow-tinted glasses and had improbably nice teeth. His rich patter continued. That's right. B100 FM, your favorite radio station, is giving away $1,000 every day of the week, and you won. He lowered his voice into a more conspiratorial tone. This part was just between the two of them. Now, we're going to do a run through of this conversation again and tape it. So when I say you won, just go berserk on me and give us a scream or a thank you, Lord, or whatever. He looked over the rim of his glasses and gave us the jerk-off motion, including his tongue in cheek. He was very good at that, and we snickered. Back on the phone. But before we record it, let me just get your home address so we know where to mail the check. I have a pen. He did have a pen. Angel looked up and winked as he scribbled the address down on a yellow notepad. He motioned for us to sit down. Perfect. He opened a Thomas Brothers map, placed the address in the book, and handed it to Tattoo Guy, who was already hovering behind him. It was a well-rehearsed dance. I'm just going to read that back to you. He did. And this is a good address for you to get mail? Got it. Okay, ready? I'm going to record this, so make it good. Pretend you're happy to get $1,000, right? Okay, here we go. You're the 100th caller. You won! Angel held the phone away from his face as the tiny voice on the other end hollered about her good fortune. We could hear the engine revving as Angel's partner slowly pulled out of the lot in the company tow truck. Perfect, honey. We'll play that Monday during 5 at 5 while you drive. Congratulations, Miss Wilson. We'll send the check your way early next week. You are so welcome. He hung up and lit another cigarette while looking at the receiver. You are so fucked. Hello, boys. What can I do you for? Dan Jones spoke. I saw the ad for the lockpicks. Do you still have them? You know the funny thing about these people? They all sign up for every fucking contest in the book. Lotteries, free dinners, whatever. I gotta find their cars. So the easiest thing in the world is to congratulate them. You won! You fucking won! Oh, I can mail the check to Grandma? Where does she live? 99% of the time, that's where the car is. Boom. The pics? Well, that depends. You don't look like locksmiths, and you don't look 18. Why do you want them? I don't know. They seem fun. I guess I just want to practice and see if I can do it. You want to fucking rob people? No. You want to be Repo Man? Because it's not like it is in the movies. You don't sneak around stealing cars for a living. I mean, you do. And it's pretty killer. But what the fuck, kid? I can't just sell you lockpicks. As he talked, he opened a drawer and retrieved a slender vinyl envelope. Think you'll ever get your license? You should. In California, you can start popping cars when you're 17. I can always use a good guy. He untied the package and unraveled the folded sheath. The picks looked like disposable dental tools. They were thin metal pieces, which curved at the edges. All right, $40. Give me your driver's license and I'll make a copy. I don't have a license. Can you take my school ID? Angel kicked his feet up onto his desk and wrapped his hands behind his big head. You brought $40 cash, right? Christ. Dan Jones placed 2 fresh 20s on the desk. I'm not going to show you how to use these. You better promise me no bullshit. I got guys inside and outside the police here. You understand me? People don't usually think of guys like Angel when they think of San Diego. But I do. I promise I won't steal anything. I have a book on how to use lockpicks, and I just want to see if they work. Angel slid the packet to Dan Jones and slapped his hand down onto the money. They work. Without inspecting any of the tools, Dan placed them in his backpack and got up from his chair. We shook hands with the Repo Man and walked back out into the blinding parking lot. Dan could sparkle. Oh boy, there's a payphone company that has regular master key locks instead of the circle ones. I made a map of all of them that I know of. I'm 99% sure I can pick them. Let's get something to eat and read my lockpicking books. I have Conrad's Club in my bag we can practice on. It's supposed to rain tonight. The perfect time to do a crime. As we climbed back over the fence and ran across the lanes of backed up freeway traffic, Dan Jones talked nonstop about how with a good set of lockpicks and a grappling hook, a motivated person could do anything. Welcome back.
Oh, what a treat. I had just such a blast
Awesome.
just now. These chapters are great. And I love how you read them too.
Oh, cool.
But especially no one ever believes me. Look, you don't even believe me right now. Yeah. That was me putting a little juice into it, but it was great.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like doing these narrations are really really working my acting chops.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I'm really getting to exercise that little muscle. Although I didn't have to work that hard for that.
No. You're still the same person.
Maybe.
Yeah. I'm sure that there's been a time in the last 12 years of your life that you've been like, no, it wasn't my fault. No, it was the baby. The baby did it. The baby made me take that tequila shot I don't remember taking.
That's right. Oh yeah. It's good to have a background of just complete shittiness, you know?
Yeah. Well, I don't know because I'm a little angel, but
I was gonna say this podcast is actually about how good of a kid you were.
Yes. Yeah. My memoir, very boring. And then I went home and I sat and I watched The Simpsons at 7 and 7:30.
You know, we're gonna have a bingo. I think there should be a La Jolla Babylon bingo card where it's like, Adam breaks a window. Katie talks about The Simpsons.
Okay, all right.
Okay.
It was a good show. It raised me.
It's true.
And then the ending to that, ultimately not telling your mom. Yeah, also fine.
Yeah, I did definitely think about it a lot throughout my life.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Like one of those, I should probably just tell her. And then I would just like wuss out every time.
I wonder what that's about. Were you scared you were actually going to get in trouble, or that you were going to actually disappoint her?
No, I think I probably just didn't want to have the conversation. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because she brought up my shitty friends a lot. Like she loved talking about how, in some ways I think that she didn't really know what was going on with me, but whatever she thought she knew, she liked to blame my friends for my behavior.
Uh-huh. She knew you broke those windows. It's not that she didn't know.
No, she knew.
She knew. No, we ran out as soon as we heard someone yelling.
We were scared of whoever was on the other floor.
Yeah, we were practicing, we were reciting poetry together in an old abandoned house. That's what we were doing.
Reciting poetry, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, we were inspecting the 2x4s to make sure that they're code.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's for our future. We just wanted to make
sure that whoever was going to move into this house was going to live in a safe place.
Yeah. Well, that's good. That's good. You guys are really respectful members of society.
Good kids.
And then that second story is so great. Wait, what was that guy's name? How do you call him?
I called him Daryl John. It actually took me a long time to come up with a fake name for him.
And Daryl John,
because his real name was a 3 first name. Do you know what I mean? It took me way longer to come up with something that had that same vibe. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. That's so funny. Yeah, man, that is actually the kind of person I think about. If that guy had kids, like I feel like that guy was similar to a lot of my friends' dads growing up.
Really?
A little bit, like.
Yeah.
If he surfed, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Instead, he was like in the sky.
Yeah.
Was surfing the sky.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. But like, I bet your friends' dads who he reminded you of, I bet they were like also lawyers or something?
No. They were they were like old school Southern California guys who
dirtbags.
Got up. Some of them dirtbags, some of them were very nice, but it was just like they got up, they went surfing, they have a very easy job, and then they, whatever. Some of them were lawyers, but not like, those are not the people I'm thinking about.
But didn't you at some point, when you were in high school, hang out at Ike Turner's house?
Oh, no, I went trick-or-treating at Ike Turner's house when I was far too old to be trick-or-treating. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. And my friend who I went with, we were probably like 14.
Yeah.
And we didn't really we just like wanted to go around and get candy. We were probably in 9th grade or something. Is that track?
Mm-hmm.
Is that right?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Okay. And
because that's too old to be trick-or-treating and just old enough for Ike Turner to notice you.
Oh, I don't think he actually noticed. I mean, it was like we went there. I think we may or may not have gotten candy. I do not remember. And she was like, that's where Ike Turner lives. And in my brain, I only know Ike Turner from domestic abuse and domestic violence. Yeah. And she had no context for it. She did not know who.
I thought there was a thing where he like invited you guys to hang out sometime.
What? No. Have you been telling somebody that story?
I have a memory of being like in my mid-20s and you saying like, we went to Ike Turner's house. And I just remember going like, don't hang out at Ike Turner's house.
That's so funny. I mean, it's possible that like we talked to him and like and he was very nice to us. You know what I mean? Yeah. But he also lived in, if that was indeed his house, which he lived there, seemed like it, that he lived in like a normal suburban, like so many of the houses look exactly the same.
Yeah, just
almost.
like a track house.
Yeah, kind of a track house, and then like track.
Oh, tracked. Yeah,
is that right?
I said track. Yeah, it's tracked.
Oh, look at that. The student has become the teacher. No, that's probably what happened.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably right around the time that What's Love Got to Do With It came out.
Oh, really?
I'm not going to look it up, but it's
interesting.
You know,
didn't you hang out with Ike Turner when you were 14 years old? Okay, I did write down this line because I'm going to steal it one day for a character.
Sure. Take
it. Got the kind of legs I like. Feet on one end, pussy on the other. That's such a good line.
Yeah.
It's so funny and so disturbing as he says that to a teenager.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, he thought of me as his friend. You
know?
Oh,
yes. Oh, that's...
I mean,
yeah.
He was like this big dude, and like I was so skinny and so just like this like bony, you know, wispy guy, you know, and like he'd be like arm around me. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Also, you describing how you dressed to distress is so funny. Maylock's moment t-shirt. I would wear that today. No joke. I want one of those. I also do like to imagine an awkward boy holding out an ice cube and just sort of playing pin the tail on the donkey. Just sort of like
pin the tail on the donkey.
Where's it supposed to go?
It was fucked up because I think she was just, you know, they were just toying with me.
Yeah, they were fucking with you. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, they were definitely fucking. They weren't. She didn't really need ice on her chest. She didn't need
no.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just fucking with the kid.
Yeah. And I love the detail of she just had like a bunch of 20s. It just reminds me of like La Jolla Shores or something, you know. I'm just like, people just being rich. Just being rich and walking around.
Well, no. Because
they're hookers. Oh, wow. I'm a dummy.
Well, we don't say hookers anymore.
I'm sorry. They were sex workers.
Yes. Oh, I got to do it.
Yeah, you did it. Aww. Yeah, you did it.
I millennialed you.
You millennialed me. Oh my gosh. And it feels great to be on the receiving end. Thank you.
Good.
Wow. I'm so naive. I'm so naive. I'm so naive.
Yeah. Well, I was too. I mean, like, there's just a canyon. I mean, there's just bushes. Like what was that? Like, what actually happened? Like, what actually happened? I don't know.
I don't know.
You know what I mean?
Maybe they stashed a bunch of money in different bathing suits in a part of the canyon and weren't actually turning tricks at that moment. Awesome. And then in that last story, I definitely wrote down this. What a great story. What a great story. I wrote down, we knew that adults were full of shit, so we decided to show up and see what happens. Is such a good line. Oh, yeah. I had no idea what, again, being very naive, I kind of like didn't understand what was happening until like near the end. I guess maybe that was a reveal on your part, where it was like, they just give us their addresses. All these people, they just apply for contests. They just willingly give us their addresses. Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
And I don't want to spoil a later episode, but that information actually came from Dan Jones, who later in life became a repo man.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So it'll probably be in season 3, but basically I meet up with Dan and he tells me all about what being a repo man in the Bay Area is really like. And because the trick is you have to find the cars, because you get your car repossessed when you stop making payments, right?
Right.
And so it's this weird cat and mouse game, because the bank wants their car back. Repossessors have this sort of, I don't know, extra, what's the phrase? Extra legal authority to get this property back. But the people whose car it is are like, you're trying to steal my car.
Right.
And so they'll hide the car, and usually, according to Dan, they would hide the car at like their grandparents' house. Right. And so they would pose as, hey, you just won this award or you just won this prize. The address where the check would go is almost always where the car would be.
That's amazing.
It's like, yeah.
Yeah, that's so smart.
Yeah, it's fucked up.
I'm so naive. I would be the person who's just like, oh boy, thanks for giving me this money.
Yeah.
Oh, you want my social security number too? Sure, if it helps process the money faster.
Make sure the IRS is on top of this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yes. Was there anything else that you wanted to talk about specifically?
No, I think this is good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm glad that we're still doing this, you know?
Me too.
It's really fun.
Mostly so I can see the variety of tiny scarves you wear.
Well, the thing is that I have to turn the furnace off when I record, because there's a vent, and when it's on, it's like, right? And so I have to turn it off, and it gets really cold down here because I'm in the basement.
I just need to wear the tiniest scarf to keep me warm.
Is this tiny?
Yeah.
I just
No, I mean, it's very cute.
My neck gets, I think it's Alicia's scarf. I steal her scarves.
I don't steal the scarves. Nobody believes me.
Why would you say that? I would not. Listen, I would not steal your scarf.
I wouldn't steal the scarf.
I wouldn't steal the scarf.
You're wearing the scarf.
I'm not. I'm not wearing the scarf.
Oh my!
I wouldn't wear the scarf.
Do you think so little
this?
of me?
Anyway,
what's on the docket for next time?
Oh boy! So next episode 5. It's actually going to be a little bit of a longer listen. It's 2 chapters based on this camping trip that I went on with my friends and also most people from my high school.
Wow. Okay.
And this is sort of the. I wonder if I should bring Sadie back. Lulu plays a huge part in this, and it is terrible. It's Adam at his worst.
Well, up to you. I find her to be incredibly charming and wonderful. So yeah. I will gladly sit on a Zoom with her.
Yeah, it's a big episode.
Oh boy, I am sweating. I'm sweating this booze out right now. I gave you all the energy I had today.
Okay. That was very sweet of you. Okay, I'm sorry you're hungover. I'm glad you had a fun time last night.
Yeah, me too. They are directly disproportionate to each other. Is that right? Is that the word?
I don't
They
think
are
so.
No, you're right. God.
I think proportionate, right?
Oh, I think you're right. Well, they are directly proportionate. No, they're dolphin porpoises to each other. The amount of fun that I had last night is equal to the amount of pain that I'm in right now. And
there you go.
You know what?
There
Worth
you
it.
go.
Totally worth it.
Worth it. I love it.
All right.
Well, and I love you.
Love you. See you later.
See you. Bye. Go take care of yourself.
You're the 100th caller. You won!
Thank you so much for listening all the way to the end. We'd love to hear from you. You can find us on Instagram, or you can send us an old-timey email at lajoyababylon@gmail.com. If you like what you heard, please subscribe so you don't miss an episode. Your 5-star rating will help others find this fucking podcast. Please check out the show notes for links to Katie's comedy, the music you heard, and a complete transcript of the show. La Jolla Babylon Season 2, The Education of a Suburban Punk, was written, produced, and edited by Aaron Hartman, with music by Aaron Hartman, co-piloted by Katie Hartman, presented in association with Ruinous Media. To hear more episodes of this show or other Ruinous Media podcasts, please go to ruinousmedia.com or wherever you get your podcasts.